my god. Hello everyone. Welcome to episode 37 of the Bandwagon Hockey Podcast. Holy shit. Okay, let's just paint a picture here. It's 1:03 p.m. on Thursday. I'm on my lunch break right now. Ryan just absolutely cooked it home from class. He finished class half hour ago, hopped on a bus and are back. This is emergency pod out of emergency pods. We were going to do this thing at the first intermission of the Sens game tonight and miss a little bit of the second period, whatever. And I texted Ryan. I was like, we're doing a pod immediately. I'm taking a late lunch. Get your ass home from school whenever you are. We're talking about this immediately. I have not been off of Twitter yet this morning. Shane Pinto was suspended 41 games for a sports gambling issue. We can get into the details soon. Some more details have come out. I'm hoping Ryan understands a little bit more of the terminology that's being used. Third party, proxy bettors, that stuff's being dropped. I'm not terribly sure what that stuff means. But long story short, Shane Pinto did something he wasn't supposed to with a betting app and has been suspended half the season. He's still without a contract. There's so much to unpack here. There's so much to unpack here. We had a list of stuff we want to talk about. That whole NHL frenzy thing on Tuesday, we're never going to talk about that now. We're not talking about it today. We're not going to talk about it on Sunday because there's more games sat. It's just everything that's happened since Sunday doesn't matter. This is the story. Ryan, you were in class when this broke. How much have you been able to keep up with it? Because it's going nuts right now.
Yeah, so I am so toxically attached to this team that it's completely taken over my life, even though I was in class. So I look down at my phone, I instantly see, my phone is silenced because I'm in class. And so I didn't feel my phone go off or anything. But I just looked down quickly to check it, and I see the notification, boom, Shane Pinto, 41 game suspension. So I started freaking out, and I've just been on on Twitter since. It's hard to unpack the details coming out. They're literally, it feels like a new one is coming out every minute at this point. I don't know. It's what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, what the fuck did he do? This has been out for 2 hours? I've been talking, I was talking through for the last half hour, 40 minutes about what this means for the team this season, because ultimately I care about that more than the NHL's rules when it comes to players and betting and shit. I don't really give a shit about that because I don't bet on sports, so it doesn't affect me in that way. But initially it was what did he do wrong? Because the number came out, it was Darren Dreger, I think, was the first one on this, and he was basically just I believe that Shane Pinto is about to receive a suspension from the NHL, and I was like, what? I was like, what for? And so my immediate thought was that he skated with the team as a free agent, or some sort of tampering issue, maybe he practiced with the Islanders or something because he's from Long Island. I don't know. I had no idea. But then I wasn't expecting to find out that soon. And then within 10 minutes, Shane Pinto, 41 games suspension for a sports betting issue. And I was like, wait, did he bet on hockey? And now because I wouldn't get it. If you bet on NFL, why is that not allowed? It's literally legal. Yeah. It's like drinking a beer at this point in society. But then some more details have come out, and it wasn't that he bet on hockey, but some other fishy shit has come out about what he was doing with his betting, and that I think you might have a better understanding of if you've seen it on the timeline. I don't know where I was going with this sentence just now, but basically, there's two ways to look at this. I want to get into what this means for the Ottawa Senators, in short order here. But in terms of what this means for the league, which is a lot of what I'm looking at right now, all of the big, media characters on hockey Twitter. I'm reading a thread right now between Greg Wyshynski, Dom Luszczyszyn, and Jay Fresh. Those are your three sort of like Mount Rushmore of hockey Twitter guys.
Yeah.
If you're on the analytics side
True.
of hockey Twitter, and like they're talking about it, and it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just trying to go back and try to get a timeline essentially through all the tweets I was sending, or we were kind of like sending each other in the past hour and a half or whatever. So it comes out that he's getting
There's so
suspended,
much.
and then it comes out it's for sports betting. And then it comes out it's not on hockey. And then that's what's really confused everyone.
Yeah.
Because the NHL has flat out said that you can gamble on other sports. Like, that's not an issue. That's not something that breaks the rules. So if it wasn't on the NHL, what was it? And that's still where the gray area is. Like, we don't really know what rule he broke yet. And now I think it was Frank Saravalli that first reported now, saying that the NHL's investigation into Pinto came as a result of a red flag from betting partner databases that revealed Pinto connection to a third party or proxy bettor. Now, I'm not 100% sure what that means either, but it kind of reads like he potentially placed a bet through somebody, which
that's what
Brian
thinks. I texted Brian because he woke up and he was like, man, what the fuck? Because he's on the West Coast. Like, he just woke up and he's seeing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, do you know what this means? Like, do you bet on sports? Because you were on the bus and shit. And I was like, we're going to do a pod. So I asked him, and he goes, he thinks it means that he bet through someone else. And like, that's crazy if true. Like, if he got one of his friends to bet on a hockey game on his behalf or something, like that's addiction. Like, if you need someone else to bet on your behalf, that's a problem for like him as an individual, let alone what it means to like the NHL's rules about that they have on sports gambling.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, man, I don't even know where I want to.
So here's the thread that I'm reading that I think is extremely interesting. So Greg Wyshynski tweets, he's like the premier ESPN hockey writer.
Mm-hmm.
Expect explanation on Shane Pinto's 41-game suspension for violation of NHL sports wagering rules soon. Multiple sources told me it's not for hockey betting, which I think you can also infer from the 41 games, because Gary Bettman would have really swung the hammer otherwise. Dom subtweets and goes, how is this not swinging the hammer, in reference to the 41-game suspension?
Mm-hmm.
Jay Fresh, being very like silly with most of his tweets, says that Gary Bettman would have personally executed Shane Pinto if he'd have bet on NHL games.
Yeah.
Which is a funny tweet, but like, it's true. He would have been banned for life.
Yeah, he would have been executed from the league. Yeah, absolutely.
And so then Greg kind of follows up on Jay Fresh, or Wyshynski kind of follows up on Jay Fresh and goes, Dom, he'd have been done in the NHL if he'd have bet on hockey. Mm-hmm. And Dom responds, this was my immediate instinct when I saw 41-game suspension, because I was trying to think of other examples, because this hasn't really happened in hockey. Calvin Ridley was suspended for 1 year for actually betting on NFL football games, which sounds insane. That does not sound like enough time.
No. It doesn't.
No what?
No, it doesn't sound like enough time if that's what happened. Yeah.
41 games for betting, but not betting on NHL games feels like a hammer. And done would be absolutely insane for a league that's welcomed betting with completely open arms, which I fully agree with. That's what's ass backwards about this, is that every single commercial and ad is fucking sports betting.
Yeah, his first the pictures that are all circulating around him right now are mostly home game pictures where he's wearing a betting ad on his head. The game he comes back and plays at home, he's going to have a gambling partner on his head. There's constantly gambling partners going on throughout all these games. So like, I agree. If it wasn't actually betting on hockey, I still think this is quite the hammer. And it doesn't appear to be the case.
And so Wyshynski follows up here. If you're looking for logical comparisons sport to sport, we follow one where you don't play for 5 minutes after punching an opponent in the face repeatedly, which is like kind of neither here nor there. Like, we understand that hockey's kind of a silly sport in some ways, but then it's whatever. All I can tell you is that Bettman treats actual wagering on hockey differently. It's known as the thing that you cannot do under any circumstance. To which he adds, I'd also add that we don't know what exactly he did. And there's a lot of chatter about things that could be hockey adjacent, like sharing information, which could come into the like proxy betting or third party, where Pinto's like informing a bet, right?
There was another example too where I think it was an NFL player got suspended for placing a bet. It wasn't on the NFL, but it was at a team facility.
Yeah.
So
maybe it was a Titans offensive lineman was suspended for the first 6 games, reduced to 4 after an appeal for betting on team property.
So maybe this is something that goes back to last year and when he was with the team. Like I don't know. We really don't know at this point.
It's really strange because the thing that's just so wild is that like it just doesn't make any sense intuitively that the NHL can pump out so much betting stuff and have so many different like every intermission talks about betting lines, and Sportsnet is so watered down now because they don't talk about games, they talk about odds and this and that and this and that. Every single sentence out of an analyst's mouth, a quote unquote analyst, has a plus or minus in the sentence because of the betting odds and or the words over under. But then a player can't bet.
Yeah, like last year on most of the Sens broadcasts, like every second commercial was Austin Matthews yelling in my face to go bet on Bet99. Like I don't know. It doesn't make any sense that this sort of suspension should be able to be given out on something that's not betting on hockey. But again, like there's still so many details that appear to need to be come out because I guess there was a short period of time where he actually did come to train in Ottawa, like when in training camp when a contract was, I guess, kind of close, and he left. And at the time, it was reported that it was because it was just a distraction. Like he wanted to go back home and work out at home because it was a distraction. And now it's reported that it was literally because everybody found out about this. Or not everybody, like the team.
The Sens found out about it.
Yeah.
And basically probably just were like, you need to go home.
Yeah, you need to get out of here.
Something really interesting, like on that topic, this is just kind of a side note. Steve Dangle tweeted, like the fact that Ottawa was able to keep this under wraps, like no one found out about it until it happened. That's going to be received really well by the players and the Players Association.
Yeah, well, like
because Pierre Dorion ate this. He's been eating this for months. Like people have been chanting, "We want Pinto at Sens games." Like he's been getting torn apart, and his job has been questioned, and his performance in that job has been questioned because of this whole situation. Like this Pinto situation with him being an RFA and going out and getting Tarasenko and bringing Kubalik back in the DeBrincat trade and this and that has been literally like held over top of him with regards to his job security, especially with all the changes that are happening in the Senators front office. And he's kept so quiet on the whole situation, and it makes you wonder how long he's known about it or had a feeling about it. And like I've got to think he's known about it for an extended period of time, at least since Pinto was sent home, which was like
2 weeks ago,
right around the start of the season.
Yeah. So we do have a little bit of information actually already about how Pinto feels about the organization on this matter, because I guess since this all dropped, Elliot Friedman has dropped 32 thoughts that I have not been able to listen to yet, but there's some quotes already on Twitter. And one of them is, Shane Pinto was appreciative that the Sens were quiet about it. They could have really squeezed him or done a whisper campaign against him, but they did none of that. And then he also adds, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Pinto signs a quick contract at a low number, a number that helps Ottawa.
Yeah. I low-key am expecting him to sign a 1-year deal at the minimum in 3 months when he's eligible to return.
That'll be what happens probably.
What else? Is there anything else that you want to unpack with regards? I don't know how much we can hammer down the point that this is so ironic and double standard-ish for hockey. But again, we still don't have full details on what exactly he did. Like being a third-party bettor or a proxy bettor can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, the fact that he does appear to be so appreciative towards the organization and the fact that he did take quite a bit of responsibility in his statement too, that we can probably read if I can find it quick enough here. And yeah, the fact that he is taking all this like responsibility and feels appreciative towards the organization, like it kind of implies some wrongdoing was done, and he feels that he's broken a rule of some sort. So this is his statement. I want to apologize to the National Hockey League, the Ottawa Senators, my teammates, the fans, and the city of Ottawa, and most importantly, my family. I take full responsibility for my actions and look forward to getting back on the ice with my team. So, I don't know.
Do we want to get into the team aspect now?
Yeah, why not?
I don't really know what else there is to break down. Like, we really don't know what he did. He got the 40-game suspension. He's out till mid-January, I think. Yeah. And, like, there's not really much more to add on that part. But, okay, let's get into it from the Sens perspective, because I know we can talk for days about this. So, basically, for those who don't know, if you're listening to this podcast, you know. But anyway, the biggest storyline in Sens land through the first 2 weeks is that Shane Pinto, 22-year-old restricted free agent who scored 20 goals last year as the team's number 2 center with Josh Norris missing the entire season, was unsigned because the Sens had $60,000 in cap space. It wasn't a holdout. It wasn't a dispute. It was literally just not being able to fit a player in under the salary cap. Mm-hmm. And Pierre Dorion took a lot of shit. I just mentioned it, but he took back a mid-ish sized salary in the DeBrincat deal that he probably shouldn't have, or if he had the option to not take it back, he absolutely shouldn't have. But he also signed Vladimir Tarasenko to a $5 million 1-year deal when this Pinto situation hadn't been resolved yet. And everyone kind of pointed at Dorion and in terms of cap mismanagement, in terms of why Pinto wasn't signed. So now we fast forward to the start of the season. He's still unsigned. They've got this full roster, $60,000 under the salary cap, what have you. And they play a man short on opening night. The optics of it are terrible. And Dorion just remains quiet the whole time. The expectation is that he's going to have to attach an asset to someone like Matthew Joseph, Dominic Kubalik, or Eric Branstrom, because those are really the only guys making mid money that you can afford to trade and then be able to afford Shane Pinto. Mm-hmm. Joseph comes out firing, plays really well to start. Kubalik puts up 0 points in 6 games. Branstrom, probably don't want to move him. And everyone's like, why isn't there a trade happening? Why isn't there a trade happening? And everyone's just like, okay, like maybe no one wants Kubalik, or maybe they just don't want to trade Joseph. And like I even was like, this sunk cost bullshit sucks with this DeBrincat thing. And even the Mark Stone thing, like if you got to trade Branstrom to bring in Pinto, just do it. Mm-hmm. And all the while, you got to think Dorion just kind of had an idea that this was how this was going to shake down. And now in 3 months, Shane Pinto is going to sign a 1-year qualifying offer that's going to have 0 signing bonuses, and his cap hit, or his cap hit will be $800,000 or whatever, and his prorated salary will be $400,000 because there's no signing bonuses. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's how that works. Mm-hmm. Because I know you tweeted about how like his salary would be higher or whatever. It won't be because there's no signing bonus.
Yeah, that was only really under the scenario of if they were still discussing like a 2-year extension or whatever, but that's not going to be.
But it will not be the case. Like it's going to be 1 year, and the number might start with a 7 and have 6 digits. Like,
since I already tweeted that, like we pretty much know he's going to be signing his QO now for the rest of the year.
Probably even less. Like I would not be surprised if it's less. And because now he's going to be in remorse mode. Like he's going to be he's going to feel sorry that he did this and put the team in the situation, and be thankful that they kept it under wraps and are still willing to bring him back. Anyway, the suspension is retroactive to game 1. So he misses exactly 41 games, probably a little bit more to get back into game shape. But anyway, and since he's not a group 2 restricted free agent, he can't be offer sheeted, which means the December 1st rule doesn't apply to him. And for those who don't know, the December 1st rule applied to William Nylander back when he had his contract dispute coming off of his ELC with the Leafs, where he had to sign by December 1st or else he wouldn't be able to play for the whole season.
Yeah, and this little piece of information definitely was not public knowledge to like 97% of people, including myself. because I was thinking one, before we knew any of this information today, I feel like I heard countless conversations about how Sens had to sign Pinto before December 1st. Like
Yeah.
that was definitely like a narrative out there. And like I fully believed it because I didn't know of this little stipulation. And then Elliot Friedman tweeted out that the league had waived it for this particular scenario, which got everybody
Yeah,
outside of
I was like,
Ottawa
what the
so
hell?
upset.
Yeah.
Like it got everyone outside of Ottawa so upset. Like, why are they breaking rules for this guy that they just suspended? Like, if he just does something so bad, why are you letting him come back? Anyways, no, it's because of the type of RFA he is, and he can't be offer sheeted, so that deadline doesn't apply to him. And we just didn't know until now. Like, because of this situation, that little piece of information has come out. And like we would have eventually known if it got to that point, obviously. But like as a typical Ottawa Senators fan, I was under the impression we needed to sign him by December 1st.
Me too. I didn't know
Yeah.
that there was a difference between needing to sign a player depended on whether or not they were
Yeah.
eligible to receive an offer sheet. I didn't
didn't know
know
that
I didn't
either.
know that it depended on anything. But like this is a literal good scenario for the Sens.
Yes.
It's better than him not playing.
Yeah.
Like, because here's my mentality.
Okay.
Here's my mentality. Okay,
yes.
you go.
Okay. Well, I might take your points, but you can piggyback. It's better than one, him not playing, and it's better than two, having to ship someone out to fit him in. So like
Yeah.
now they're going to be able to have him miss half the season, but still have Kubalik / Joseph as his quote unquote replacement, and then add him in to this group on a bare minimum contract while still keeping everybody. So it's like the best scenario possible under the salary cap.
I just saw someone tweet that like if he signs at mid-season, his actual cap hit would only be half of his salary. So it may only be like a $375,000, $400,000 cap hit, which I don't think is accurate. But if that's true, that's crazy.
I think it's the other way around. But
what do you mean?
Like I think his cap hit would be 1.5 times.
No, it definitely will not be that. It'll be like whatever number he signs. So let's say it's an $800,000 contract for 1 year, right? And so you prorate that over the season. So then the salary that he brings home will be $400,000. So now I'm wondering,
that's what I meant.
Is his cap hit on the Senators' cap sheet under the $83.5 million cap ceiling going to be 400 or 800? I feel like it'd be 800.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like his cap hit is going to be larger than the salary he receives.
I think.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know because now I don't know because of this whole no signing bonus situation.
I don't know if that had anything.
Anyway, regardless of what it is, the Sens will be able to send down one player and bring Pinto in. So whether it's Parker Kelly or Mark Kastelik or Roar Chartier or Jacob Bernard-Docker, like they're going to be able to fit Pinto in seamlessly. But the reason I kind of say it's not the worst scenario, obviously you want to have your 22-year-old 20-goal scorer in the lineup from the start of the season. But this situation didn't look like it was getting resolved anytime soon. I don't think Dorian wanted to trade Matthew Joseph at all.
No.
Dominic Kubalik is like the most nothing asset in the NHL. And that guy needed to score a goal before anyone was going to be willing to take on that guy. Even though it was a 1-year deal, like I don't think he was getting moved. And even if he was, you were either attaching something or getting zero anything in return, which I would have been fine with getting nothing in return for him.
Yeah. Could you wait? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt your train of thought.
And don't forget your question. But now Kubalik, who might have had one foot out the door, Matthew Joseph, Eric Brancham, whoever the heck else thought that they were maybe on the outs and basically just waiting for a trade, can now lock in and just focus on playing hockey for the Ottawa Senators because they're not going anywhere now. And so awesome. and home games, if Ottawa is losing or winning, like the chants were happening every game, there's not going to be any more we want Pinto chants.
Yeah.
Dorian can relax. and focus on the season. DJ Smith can settle down a little bit and stop having to answer questions about Shane Pinto.
Closure. Yeah.
And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now we know what's going to happen. We know when it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And we know that this team could just take off in January, which is a long time away, but the team can just focus, and the team is going to be better for the last 41 games than we ever thought it would ever be for any portion of the season bringing in Pinto. Because if you bring in Pinto right now and you trade Kubalik, who knows what Pinto's going to look like in 2 weeks when he starts playing? Because he's not going to play from tonight on if he signs today. He's not going to play probably until they get back home, maybe even after that. And that's another 4 or 5 games. You've missed 12 games already. Like, there's
remember what Nylander looked like when he
exactly. Nylander put up 27 points in 54 games that year. Like, he was bad. And so all of a sudden, like, if Pinto comes into the season like that, all of a sudden you downgrade. So you have the better player in theory, but if under circumstances, Pinto might not be an upgrade. Mm-hmm. Now in January, I'm willing to bet you my freaking left nut that Shane Pinto, after missing half a season, is gonna be better than Mark fucking Kastelic. So And like now Ridley Gregg could just be the third line center and not worry about it. And then Pinto comes back, he can just settle into the fourth line center role. Like, it's
okay, spin zone. We did not lose Shane Pinto for 41 games. We got Ridley Gregg Calder season.
Yeah, like, there you go. And because, like, let's be real, if Pinto was signed, like, I don't really trust this ownership group to have had, or not ownership group. I don't trust Pierre Dorian to have had Ridley Gregg in the NHL roster to start the season.
Oh yeah.
And now he's been like their fourth most important player to start the year.
Yep.
Like, it's ridiculous. And
okay,
now, what was your question?
Now think of this. Like, imagine it's training camp, right? And Pierre Dorian is sitting there thinking about how to get Pinto in the lineup, not knowing about what's coming down the pipeline in a couple weeks here.
Yeah.
He trades Matthew Joseph with a first-round pick.
Oh my God.
To fit him in.
Oh my God.
And then boom, this comes 2 weeks later. Could you imagine?
Holy shit.
That would have been he got so lucky. I don't know.
I would have pulled every single string imaginable to get rid of my season's tickets.
Oh my God, yeah.
I would have been so upset. And like this,
and Matthew Joseph has this start somewhere else.
Oh my God, in Tampa. I don't think Pierre Dorian, I don't want to give him credit for this because he fell ass backwards into this.
Oh yeah.
Like, I tweeted yesterday.
Give him credit for keeping it quiet from when he knew, but that's about it.
Yeah. I tweeted yesterday, and I was hoping it would get some, like, I don't have any followers on Twitter. If you're listening, fucking follow me on Twitter. Ryan has like 700 and like begs for them, and I just won't do that, and I have 60.
I'll give you a little shout out.
I tweeted, despite himself, Pierre Dorian has assembled like an actual good roster in the most inefficient fucking way possible. It's taken him 6 years to build this roster, and it's still like, it might make the playoffs. Like, I probably bet against it. I don't know, realistically. And it's been 6 fucking years since this team started rebuilding. Like, it's not supposed to take this long. You have like the best player on your team you got thinking it'd be the 28th overall pick. It ended up being the 3rd overall pick. Like, don't tell me that the Erik Karlsson trade was a masterclass. That shit was an accident. Like, fuck off with all of that. But like, he despite himself has built this team, and I was basically just like, get rid of this sunk cost bullshit. Get rid of Kubalik and sign Shane freaking Pinto.
Yeah.
And then this drops, and I'm like, there's no way Dorian's known about this for more than a week and a half. Like,
no.
Because he should have, like, in theory, like, logically, in terms of, like, hockey building a roster, Kubalik and Joseph should, or either of them, should not have started the season on this hockey team.
Absolutely. And
they just did. So that kind of gives me the inclination that Dorian hasn't known about this for as long as maybe people are going to give him credit for.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Like, I feel like the entire organization found out when Shane Pinto left.
Yes. Which was
Like,
like a couple days before the first game or shortly after?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah. Like, it's insane. And I don't know. Obviously it buys Pierre Dorion time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering, obviously this is all dependent on if like Ann Lauer would have known about the situation or whatever, but I'm wondering if like he'd have been like, hey, what the hell is going on here? Trade someone or I'm going to fire you. Which probably wasn't the case, again, because the situation has likely been known for a couple weeks. But like, you could tell he looked uncomfortable in the front office. Like, people are already chanting "Fire DJ." I think now, just with some closure on this situation, everyone can settle in a bit. But like, I'm not giving Pierre Dorion credit for this.
No, not at all. I'm happy.
He's
I'm
so
ecstatic.
fucking lucky.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic the way it turned out.
Yeah,
but like, it's pure luck.
I'm genuinely thrilled. Like, I'm happy that this is not like a character thing for Pinto. Because someone tweeted out like, "Oh, Formenton and Pinto, look at the Sens," and it's like that's not it. Like, Pinto's gonna be celebrated when he comes back. The team's not gonna care. Like, he bet on sports. Everyone bets on sports. Like
DJ Smith had some comments today too, and I loved them. Like, they were so supportive of the player. I'm trying to find them now. Yeah, on Pinto, he was like, we're 100% behind Shane, and when he gets back with us, he'll be welcomed back with open arms. Yeah, we want to support him in any way we can, stuff like that. So and nobody on the team is gonna like hold him to this. Like, I'm sure Brady might make one joke like, "Hey, bud, how did the parlay happen?" or "How did it turn out?" or something like that.
Next year, that's a next year thing.
Once down the road.
Like, next year when he signs up 4 times 3.5, like that's when you bug him about it.
Yeah, no one's gonna be I don't think anyone's gonna be genuinely upset with it.
Like, this dude's out $2 million right now.
Yeah, he made a stupid mistake. Like.
3 things the Senators are not allowed to do: take Ubers, cut raw chicken, and bet on sports.
Yeah. Also,
oh my god,
this team, man. I thought we were over this stupid, silly stories, but you know what? There may be one more coming down the pipeline too. Locked On Senators podcast here is hearing that the Senators might be facing punishment for the whole Evgeny Dadonov no trade clause debacle that was almost 2 years ago.
You just say Dadonov.
Yeah, I did. He's changed the pronunciation of his name like 3 times, so yeah. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Wait, so what did you say there?
The Sens might be facing some sort of discipline for the whole no trade clause debacle. Do you remember that?
Like, right now, this is them facing discipline?
Well, that's what they just tweeted, or Locked On Senators.
I think this is the NHL. I don't even want to say overreacting, but I think this is the NHL maybe seeing a trend with, like, how much sports betting has become part of sports culture and just trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, it could just be a message sender.
I think I meant to mention that earlier. I think I meant to mention that when I was referencing, like, Dom and Wyszynski's tweets. With regards to like dropping a hammer. Like, this is the NHL, I think, trying to make an example out of a guy because they don't want any situation like this, or obviously worse, to ever rear its head. Because obviously this situation could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I imagine the firestorm that the league would be in, though, if like a player bet on his own game, and
they'd be done.
They'd literally be done. And so
done. Instantly done.
Didn't Ontario ban athletes from being allowed to promote sports betting, so Austin Matthews and McDavid aren't in betting commercials anymore?
Yeah, that's why I specifically mentioned last year's ads, because like I don't think I've seen those this year because of that law.
But that's not an NHL thing. That's like the province of Ontario. But yeah, I don't. This is crazy. And the most messed up thing about it too is that this is why, like, low-key hockey sucks, is because like one of the main takeaways from this is that Ottawa got off well. Like, they're missing a 22-year-old stud, like, very important piece of their organization for the half of the season. And it's like, and I'm like a season's ticket holder, you're a diehard fan, like whatever, and we're like, it's not that bad of an outcome.
All right.
Like,
Sure.
And it's because of the salary cap.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Like, Shane Pinto should be signed in the lineup right now and receiving the suspension and being yoinked out of that lineup.
Yeah.
And I should be pissed about it.
But he's not, and we're just like, oh, well, like, nothing's changing, and it's just going to be awesome in 3 months.
Also, how can he, like, another thing that really benefits the Senators here is the fact that he can just start accumulating games without a contract. Like,
that it's retroactive to the start of the season. How is that allowed?
Yeah.
Like, they literally just were like, oh, here, Sens, like, you guys are cool, let's help you out. Like, I'd be furious if I was another organization.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm Detroit and Buffalo fans, like, I'm like, what? Why? Why are they getting so much
could you imagine if he was in the lineup and they yoinked him and be like, oh, yeah, it's just retroactive to game 1?
Yeah. Like, how is, like, Shane Pinto accumulating games towards his suspension while not being signed? He's not an NHL player right now. He has no ties to the NHL right now, technically.
Yeah.
He is to...
Oh, yeah. Oh, and another thing, too, is, like, depending on when the incident was, can you suspend a player for betting without a contract?
Yeah! Like... He is as relevant to the Ottawa Senators' financial situation. Shane Pinto is less relevant to the Ottawa Senators from a financial perspective than I am.
Yeah, that is true.
You know how much money I've contributed to that team this year?
Yeah.
And do you know how much they're paying Shane Pinto for the next 3 months? $0.
Yeah.
If you compared the net positive that I've contributed to the Ottawa Senators versus what they've given to Shane Pinto in the last 4 months, going for the next 4 months, it's positive like $4,000.
Yeah.
Like,
oh boy.
He's not an employee for the Ottawa Senators right now. Why do these games count towards his suspension? I don't get it. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's obviously perfect, but like, why?
I don't know.
What?
That doesn't make sense. The suspension makes no sense. The terms of the suspension make no sense. The rule he broke makes no sense. Like, nothing about it is
like, the difference is that like Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver who got suspended a year for betting on football, he had a contract, was released, and then the year away from football counted towards the suspension. That makes sense because, like, he lost a year of football, like he was gonna play. Shane Pinto, there was zero indication that he was going to be playing anytime soon.
Yeah,
that's what's weird. That's what's so weird, and so I have no idea.
Also,
like,
it's crazy.
Maybe it'd be different. Like, would it be different if he was an unrestricted free agent? Like, if it got out there that Patrick Kane bet on hockey, like, would these games count for him?
Yeah, it's crazy that this happened to, like, the one player that is unsigned.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. It's so random. Like, it's so random.
So weird. Anyways, like, I don't know if there's much else we want to add to this.
I don't know what else to add to this. I'm trying to think of any other bases. Like, what has anything else come out? I put my phone down for like 20 minutes just now.
Yeah, no, I've been kind of scrolling. I think that's about it.
Did you see the PWHL team names, rumored team names?
Yeah,
they suck.
Yeah.
They suck. I'm so excited for that league, but they suck.
All right.
Whoa, wait, what? Okay. Laleem's Martian just tweeted this 48 seconds ago. Have you seen it?
No.
The streets have dropped another horrible turd in my lap today. Remember that Dadonov NTC issue from a couple trade deadlines ago? That might not be going away.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking
I thought that was dealt with.
Well, that's what I was just bringing up.
Yeah, I know that, but I
With the
didn't realize that was like something that you were. I thought you were like comparing that situation as another
Oh,
like
no.
ridiculous Dorian situation.
Yeah, it sounds like something else is coming today.
Why?
I don't know.
That was 2 years ago. Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Why would like what?
I don't know.
Oh my god, what? I don't understand. Oh, okay, and oh my god, what is happening with Dadonov? Oh my god, we might not need to just like keep recording until something drops here. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if this is sustainable. We can maybe update it on the weekend pod.
yeah, okay. Holy crap.
No way.
What?
The streets are saying a first rounder?
No way.
That's absurd.
This is crazy that this is all happening right now. If this is true. Oh my god, a first round pick? Just for not checking a no trade clause? Dude, could you imagine if like Dorian had traded Joseph 3 weeks ago, attaching a first round pick, and then they got stripped of a first round pick, and they'd have no picks this year, no Joseph and no Pinto.
Oh. All right.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up on this. This is how we're gonna end the episode. It's gonna be really positive. It's not gonna be positive, but I'm gonna say it's positive because it's gonna be so negative.
Okay.
PR Storm wipes the floor with this franchise. They finish 26th in the standings. Their first round pick gets scrapped because of this Dadonov situation from 2 fucking years ago. And the first round pick they have from the DeBrincat trade is the worst of the Boston and Detroit picks. Boston's currently 6-0 and Detroit's 5-1. That pick ends up being 29th overall. Go Sens, go. Hit the outro.
Go Sens, go.
Go Sens, go. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Never a dull moment.
There's no way it's going to be a first round pick. Although fucking he's right about everything. How is he right about everything?